Happy Saturday afternoon, happy Saturday evening, however you want to look at it. My name is Noah. You're listening to Alt Culture Weekend right here on Alt 1017 every Saturday from 6 to 7 p.m. We highlight new stuff in alternative music, and then we talk about movies, we talk about alternative artist updates, and stuff going on here in Tuscaloosa, all in one tightly packed little hour that we try to cram everything in that we want to let you know about. Our movie segment's going to be a little chock full. We've got several movies that I want to give you a update on, a review of. I was able to see many this past week to give you my thoughts on them. And as well, I'll give you a look at what's coming up soon, what's coming up later on, what's been catching my eye. And as always, I'm going to be hitting you with the latest, hot off the presses of music. 5 new albums that I want to highlight, or sort of twist what new means for one of these albums tonight, but 5 new albums that had a release date as of yesterday. And I'm going to get to the first one in a moment here. If you want to interact with the show, you can always send us a message on the Alt 1017 app, or you can send us a message on Alt 1017 FM on Instagram. And right now, if you want to go engage on our Instagram, we've got a giveaway that we're doing to give you free movie tickets, a pair of movie tickets to go see a movie next week. And all you've got to do is go to our Instagram post where we're recognizing the 20th anniversary of Shrek 2 and just comment your favorite sequel. I'm going to be talking about what people's favorite sequels are tonight. A lot of Shrek 2, but we'll get into maybe a couple others as well, some of my favorites, what I've been talking to people. I've been talking to people all week about what is your favorite sequel. And we've got a couple examples that I want to hit tonight. But if you want to share your thoughts, go to our Instagram, Alt1017FM. Right now, comment that, and you'll be in the running to get a free pair of movie tickets so you can go see this Shrek 2 or whatever else, any of these other movies I'm going to be talking about tonight. Let's transition into some music. We got new music. It's an album I've been looking forward to for a little bit. It's Maggie Rogers' new album, Don't Forget About Me. So Maggie Rogers has been out here making a couple albums, but I think this album sort of shows her coming into her own a little bit and seeing some progression on what she's done in the past for her sort of folk, laid-back, acoustic, singer-songwriter type vibe that she does really well at. Yeah, I was introduced to her song Alaska years and years ago, which you may also be familiar with. But I think that this newest album, Don't Forget About Me, it's a very good indie folk album. It feels very Midwest, like something you would listen to like while smoking a cigarette at night on a back porch at a party or something. And like I said, I feel like Maggie Rogers has really developed and shows a developed hand at her craft in this album over past work, which is always nice to see. One of the songs that I want to highlight for you tonight, and that I would recommend that you go listen to, is The Kill. I really like the lilting melody on the chorus of this one, as well as all the instrumentation and everything else that she's doing on this song. So go check out The Kill if you have a chance to get to. We'll be right back here on Alt 1017 to keep the show going. Hang on.
Tuscaloosa's only source for everything alternative. Alt 1017.
That was Maggie Rogers with The Kill right here on Tuscaloosa's new alternative. You're listening to Alt Culture Weekend right here on Alt 1017. My name is Noah, and as always, we're going to take this time to hit a little bit about what's going on in alternative music, alternative artist updates. Big thing that's going on right now is Coachella has been going on this weekend. So if you aren't hanging out with all the big artists and seeing all the things that they're doing, let me tell you a little bit about who is playing, at least who is playing as far as alternative artists, because there's a ton of people from all walks of life, for people who have all different types of tastes. But let me hit a couple people that if you were at Coachella, you could be enjoying, and if you want to go see maybe what's going on with them, here are some of the artists that are performing this weekend. Lana Del Rey and Sabrina Carpenter both played yesterday. Sabrina Carpenter actually came out with a new song, Espresso, ahead of her performance, and I listened to it, and I thought I might play it on the show, but I thought it was okay, but maybe not best for the curated songs that we like to have on this hour. But if you want to go check it out, I'll put it on the playlist that we put up at the end of every single show. So they were playing the best. Suki Waterhouse, who has her new song OMG that we played a couple weeks ago. Brittany Howard has a new album that came out recently. Faye Webster, who also had her new album come out just a couple weeks ago. So that was all yesterday. Today, the Gwen Stefani and No Doubt got back together. They performed a little set. They have one that's going on today, and there was some question about whether is this going to be a reunion, is everything gonna keep going, but she said, this is just a one-time thing. So sorry about that, but No Doubt is performing Blur, Vampire Weekend, who just was our Gold Star album from last weekend, Last Dinner Party, which was our Gold Star album a couple weeks ago, Bleachers, Grimes, those all playing today, and then Lil Yachty and Taking Back Sunday are playing tomorrow. So that's some stuff that's been going on with Coachella this weekend. If you're a big Coachella head, if you've ever been to Coachella, send me a message, let me know on the free Alt 1017 app. Personally, if I was to go to Coachella, I wouldn't, because I don't want to deal with the drama. If I'm going to go to Coachella, it's going to be as an artist. I'm going to write an album, I'm going to write a song, and I'm going to go up there and perform. I'm not going to go as just like a listener, an audience member, because I think my talents lie elsewhere. So that's what's going on this weekend there at Coachella. So a lot of our favorite artists are involved in that. But there's some other stuff going on around the alternative artist updates. For instance, this past week, Billie Eilish announced that her new album would be coming out soon, May 17th. So she's going to be competing with our boys 21 Pilots and Cage the Elephant, who all have their albums coming out that weekend. Her new album is called Hit Me Hard and Soft, and she announced that she was not going to be having any singles leading up to this album, which, if we can talk about this for a moment, I think is a rather interesting marketing thing to do. Of course, lots of surprise albums exist. I mean, Beyonce's done them, U2 has done them in the past, and so it's not like it's Radiohead has, even with their In Rainbows, has done a surprise album. So it's not the first time that someone would do something like that, even though I wouldn't necessarily call this a surprise album, because we all know what's happening. We just don't know what the singles are going to be. And me personally, as someone who likes to be aware of the new singles that are coming out so I can highlight them here on the show, I do also like to go into an album, particularly of an artist that I've never heard of, like this artist that I'll be playing in a moment here, and just have not heard any of the songs. I don't know anything about it, and I just go in and experience what the album is. So I don't have any previous recognition with any of the songs, and I'm just going in there and deciding for myself what I want to take from it. That's something that I get to experience as just someone who's listening to the music, and I think it's sometimes something in this modern world where we're inundated with the song every which way, or the music every which way, and promotional material, is that a certain song will get decided as what you should like or what you are most familiar with. And I think it's kind of nice to be able to choose for yourself, to decide for yourself what you think is the best song, and just to democratize that system. So that's my little soapbox, that I enjoy this. If you have a different opinion, let me know. But I enjoy that she's just going to drop the album and let the people decide what they like, and we'll see how that goes. In addition to Billie Eilish doing her thing, we've also got some people doing well on the Hot 100. Here are the charts. So some of our favorite people, Hozier is still on top of the charts, Too Sweet, number 4, and Benson Boone with Beautiful Things. I would love to see Slow It Down, which we played last week on the show for you, from his new album, Fireworks and Rollerblades. I'd love to see that rise up in the charts, but we'll see how that goes. Though in the Global 200 on the Billboard charts, Benson Boone, Beautiful Things is number 1. And Artemis, I Like the Way You Kiss Me, is number 5, with Hozier at number 6 and Joe's End of Beginning at number 7. I love to see this alternative. I love to see this rock sort of takeover of the global charts. If you're talking about a takeover, a couple weeks ago we talked about how UMG took a bunch of their music off of TikTok because they were having disputes with how much their artists should be, or how much them as a company should be paid to be able to use that music. And so, we went through a whole list of everyone who was involved in getting that taken off. Ahead of Taylor Swift's new album, The Tortured Poets Department, which comes out next week, I do believe, is that her music for a limited time some of her music has been put back on TikTok, I guess just to promote it. So it'll be interesting to see going forward if this is a marketing ploy that certain companies use, especially maybe with big artists, to prep for an album coming out. It's sort of whenever Netflix will, or one of these streaming services will take something away and they'll put it back to give you that sort of exclusivity to it to make you enjoy it more. So we'll see how that goes, whether that is something that we continue to see other music groups do, whether we continue to see Universal Music Group do with their artists. Who knows? Maybe it's just a special Taylor Swift thing. But I saw that was happening this past week, so I wanted to give you an update on that to let you know about what's been going on in the music business, as well as just alternative artist updates, because what happens in the music business affects our artists. As we talk about our artists, I want to highlight this new album by Buzzard, Buzzard, Buzzard. Like I talked a minute ago, this is an album that I was not familiar with, a band I was not familiar with going into the week, but their new album that they have out, Skinwalker, I was very interested by this album. It combines a lot of funky guitars and rock styles. It's punk rock in a lot of places, and I just enjoy the attitude with which they go about playing their music. A lot of the songs are fun, like Sugar Sandwich, My Star Sign is a Basset Hound, In My Egg. Those are 3 separate songs. And I think in some ways a song title should act like a movie title to entice you to check it out. So I appreciate when the songs are named something a little interesting. And so it was interesting going through these albums and being like, and just looking at my phone and being like, oh my goodness, what is the name of this song? I think that there's a lot of good combination of the discordant sections as well as the funky indie vibe across a lot of the songs on this album. National Rust, I think, is a highlight. I also liked the band's ability to go more laid back on something like The Drowning Bell. But the song I want to highlight for you, and which I recommend you go check out, is Leatherbound. I love the vocal melodies and the guitar riffs on this song. That's Leatherbound by Buzzard, Buzzard, Buzzard. We'll be back in a minute to talk a little bit about movies. That was Willow, who, if you've heard the song by The Anxiety, that's her and Travis Cole with Meet Me at Our Spot. So Willow's maybe Transparent Soul. We've also played on the station sometimes before. She's got a new album coming out in Pathogen, and she's been releasing a couple singles, so that's one that just came out recently. That's Willow with Big Feelings. So I really like the... I debated over whether to play it for you, but I really enjoyed the just jazzy nature of that song. I really like the sort of new wave nature of it as well. I'm not quite sure of what genre you could put it in. You could maybe put it in a bunch of different ones, but I want to just highlight that new Willow song, Big Feelings. Willow has a new album coming out soon, and Pathogen. So coming out soon, coming out now, coming out recently, I've got a ton of things that I want to hit you with as far as movies go. So a couple different movies that have come out recently. I went and saw on Sunday, I went and saw the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire just to see what it was like. Now, me personally, if you are a fan of the Ghostbusters series, if you're a fan of the legacy nature of it, of the original one, you've watched all of them, you might enjoy this one. It has a good dash of nostalgia, a good dash of recurring characters, that long-term characters that they reintroduce and have involved. But as someone who's not too familiar with the franchise, I found it to be kind of boring, to be kind of straightforward, and I wasn't too big of a fan of that Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So that's one that's been coming out recently. If you want a nostalgia kick, if you've got nostalgia for the brand, maybe go check it out. But if you are wanting just like a good movie about busting ghosts, maybe give this one a skip. But on Tuesday, I got to see the new movie. I gave you a little preview of it last week. New movie, Monkey Man. So it released last Friday, and I wanted to go check it out, so I went to go saw it with some friends. And I found this movie rather interesting. It's got Dev Patel, who's not been in anything super, super big. I know he was Slumdog Millionaire was one that he is in a while ago, and then The Green Knight, if you've ever heard of that. But and then he was in a couple of those Roald Dahl short films that were on Netflix. So I like him as an actor, even though I haven't seen him in too many things. But this project, Monkey Man, is something that he's been trying to get made for a long time and trying to get shop around the script to, but nobody would make it. So eventually he decided to just make it himself. And I think that you can tell a little bit with just how things are put together that it might be someone's kind of first film, first outing. Of course, Jordan Peele, with a lot of those movies like Get Out and Us and Nope, that you may be familiar with. He was a producer on this movie, so I do think there is some production involvement from other studios, but I do think you see sort of the newcomer vision that Dev Patel has as sort of being the one to star and direct in this movie. This movie is about... I understand why it was so confusing trying to... Before I went and watched it, trying to explain what the premise of this movie is, but basically... this guy is trying to... People compare it to John Wick, which I think makes sense. It's even in the movie, they are aware of that, and they call that out. But it's this guy who's trying to get revenge for something that happened to him whenever he was a kid that affected his family. And over the course of this, I think it does a really good job of really creating the world that he's in. It's set in India. It's really creating the world that he's in and giving life to it and giving cultural specificity to the world that he lives in and making it seem like an actual place that has political and religious turmoil. The religious turmoil nature of it, the sort of religious war, is a much bigger aspect of this than I thought it was going to be. And even though where the character fits in that, and whether he is on one side or the other, whether he's in the middle or chooses neither side, I think they leave that up in the air. But I do think it allows you to sort of have some thoughts or have a conversation about whenever someone is a persecuted group, how do they rise up and either get revenge or avenge for the hurts that have been caused to them, and then just take all that thought and all that sort of thematic element, and then just cover it with a good layer of flashy cinematography and good action and well choreographed fights. And so you could, if you just want to come in and enjoy a fun movie, that's great. But if you also want something that you can walk away with and think about a little bit too, I think you're also going to get that. So that is Monkey Man in theaters right now. I'd give it my recommendation. And so that is one I got to see. And then last night, I got to see new out this weekend. So those are some of the movies that have been come out recently, but out for the first time this weekend. It's A24's new movie, Civil War. Let me play you a little of this so that way you can hear a little bit of the trailer.
States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
I guess aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America.
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
That is Civil War by A24, out right now in theaters, and I got to go see it last night. And I'll start by saying that I do give it my recommendation. I think it's a very interesting movie, but you got to go into this with the right perspective. Is that it is going to be set, and the protagonist is from these journalists, these war photographers, these war journalists that are going around and trying to capture things as this civil war is going on in America, and it's sort of the last days of that civil war. And they have a very important goal that they're trying to meet before everything comes to an end. So be aware going into this that you're not going to see like a ton of battles, you're not going to see a ton of skirmishes, you're going to get sort of each scene sort of acts as a vignette of these different people and a real focus on the day-to-day people and how they are experiencing the different aspects of this war, of the different aspects of civilians or military officers or people who have gone rogue, and how they are interacting with what is going on in this civil unrest. So they're traveling to D.C. to try to find the president, to try to interview him. They're trying to get to D.C. and they meet these different people along the way. And you really, over the course of that, they don't feed it to you right away, but over the course of that, you really get a picture of what this war is like through these little vignettes, through these little scenes and these different people that you encounter. And I thought that was a very effective way at making the scope of this seem really big by not trying to say that we're telling you everything. We're just trying to give you this one person's perspective and the people that they're able to interact with. It makes it seem so much bigger and it makes it seem so much more massive. And also allows you, by not trying to talk about every single thing, it allows you to sort of imagine a lot of stuff. So they don't ever really quite, I didn't catch it, really quite explain how Texas and California sort of joined forces to fight against the rest of the country. But it's fun to sort of conjecture and imagine how that might have happened. And I think I enjoy a good movie that you can sort of do some world building on your own. And I enjoy something that you can make fan fiction of. If everything isn't spelled out and you kind of can do some imagining for yourself, I think that's interesting. So I will say some of the shortcomings of this movie, some of the dialogue isn't that great. Some of the needle drops, the music drops are kind of strange, though I did enjoy them. But I think they came through effectively, but it might turn someone off. So if you want to go see something that's kind of different, if you do want to sort of see a war movie from a more grounded perspective that is also based in this country and maybe says something about sort of unrest that we experience or sort of the issues that we experience, go check out Civil War, this new movie from A24. Another movie that is in theaters this weekend is Shrek 2. It's 20th anniversary of Shrek, so that's playing in theaters right now, and as well as this other third movie, Irina's Vow, is going to be starting on Monday. So it's not playing right now, but you can go catch it on Monday. Let me play you a little bit of this so you can catch what this is all about.
From now on, you'll be working to contribute to the German war effort.
Your name?
Irena Gut.
You will be in charge of supervising the Jews. Your survival will depend on that.
I have until July 22nd to make sure that this entire sector is Jew-free.
We have no place to go. I saw a place where I can hide you, where no one would ever think of looking for you.
Irina's Vow is based on a true story, and it says, caught up in a German roundup to be used as a laborer, a Polish nurse becomes a German army major's housekeeper during World War II, and then she risked her life to conceal a dozen Jews within the major's home. So that's Irina's Vow. So if you want to go see a historical sort of story based on a true story, that is Irina's Vow. Coming to theaters on Monday. But I want to get back to some of the music a little bit. I want to tell you about this new album from Metz. Metz is the name of the band that has this new album out right now. The name of the album is Up on Gravity Hill. So this album is pretty hard rock. It's close to metal at some points, at least for the instrumentation. Maybe not so much for the vocals, but it's got a lot of driving guitars, heavy drums. If you want something a little more punk, a little more rock, check this out. It's a very, very interesting album. If you sort of are more into indie, maybe check out some Superior Mirage is one track off the album that I thought was pretty good. But if you want something a little more metal, check out Wound Tight. I think that was a very interesting song. It's got a lot of good drums and guitar riffs, but the melody of the song still finds its way to get through. Right here on Tuscaloosa's New Alternative, you're listening to Alt Culture Weekend. We'll be back in a minute to talk a little bit more. You're listening to Alt 1017. This is Alt Culture Weekend. My name is Noah, and Remy Wolf has an album coming out soon, July 12th. So I guess it's relatively soon. Big Ideas is coming out, and one of her lead singles from that album is Cinderella. I really enjoyed the sort of indie jazz of that album, indie funk of that single, Cinderella. But want to give a shout out to all our listeners, all our engagers here on this Alt 1017 Instagram, as we're doing this giveaway, movie tickets to go see. You and a friend can go see whatever movie you would like to right here in Tuscaloosa. We were talking about some of them last break, but what are some of the best sequels of all time? Shrek 2 turns 20 this year. 2004 is whenever it came out originally, so 2024. That's quick math, 20 years. A lot of the people in our comments are saying that Shrek 2 is their fave. We've also got Sister Act 2. A lot of times with the 2 movie is it won't be too great, but sometimes it can do something really cool. I think Dune 2 just came out recently, and I think that movie's great. Top Gun Maverick is one of my favorite sequels of all time. Toy Story 2 is amazing. Empire Strikes Back, I was talking to a lot of people, what's your favorite sequel? And that was one that they said is just unequivocally a good sequel. Up next, our Gold Star album. Girl in Red has their new album out right now. I'm Doing It Again, Baby. So a lot of great indie pop, alt pop on this album. A lot of great songs. That's what makes it one of our Gold Star albums of the week. It has a lot of good banging songs that you can check in and find and enjoy. I'm Back gives a really good intro to the album and Girl in Red's sort of emotional mental state going into this, coming back with this project. Doing It Again, Baby is a great upbeat title track for the whole album. And then Too Much, which is one we played earlier in the year to sort of highlight the release of this album, is really great. Sort of brings the balance down and everything like that. But the song that I want to highlight for you that I think is a really great one that you should go check out, Phantom Pain. Phantom Pain, I think this song does a really good job of sort of highlighting what is great about this album. A lot of the good lyrics and the instrumentation just sort of working together to make something that's really fun. Right here on Alt 1017. We'll be back in a minute to wrap up the show. Bama Theater has announced their lineup for their summer series. They like to do these series of all what's going on with that, and they have announced a lot of these blockbuster summer movies. They've done that in the past, and they're doing it again, baby, just like Girl in Red. And they've got a lot of great movies that are coming. Independence Day and Top Gun, the original Top Gun. I talked about Top Gun Maverick I enjoy, and more from Bama Theater coming out this summer to highlight that. So, hey, if you're around in the summer and you want to go see some classic movies on the big screen, go check that out from the Bama Theater. I want to highlight our last album artist of the week. Blue Oyster Cult has sort of put a album together of some of their classic songs, of some of their old tapes, and put out this album. And the song that I want to highlight off it is Money Machine. Ghost Stories is the name of the album. Money Machine is the name of the song. I think this is it's really good, just like Blue Oyster Cult. They've got that whole song, Don't Fear the Reaper, which you may be familiar with. And this song is just an old type rock album. I feel like this album would fire up any of the 6-year-olds out there. If you like older rock sensibilities, definitely check this out. I really like the piano on Money Machine, so I'm going to play that for you now to close out the show. 6 to 7 p.m. right here on Alt 1017. We'll see you next week.